welcome back to our second part of our talk on animal skulls. If you didn't see part one, we focused on the teeth of some different animals and what that can tell you. For part two here, what we're going to look at is we're going to be looking at the nose of the animals, so how their sense of smell and how you can determine that. And then we're going to be looking at the eyes of the animals, so by judging where their eyes are, what you can learn about the animals. Now to do that, I'm going to start talking about, first of all, our deer skull here. So if you watched the last video, you'll know this is a deer skull. And if you look closely, you can see that the eyes are positioned right here on the skull. And if I give you kind of a top-down view, you're going to see that their eyes are actually orientated to the side of the skull. So with eyes on the side of their skull, it allows deer to have a wider field of view. So you can see here with the red lines that a deer's vision allows them to see very far on either side of their skull, give them really about a 280-degree radius for their vision. So it allows them to see those predators if they're trying to sneak up from the side or even a little bit from behind them. Then with the green lines here, I'm showing you is where the vision crosses between the left and right eyes, and in that area they'd have binocular vision. So they'd have really good vision to the front, and then the sides they're going to have pretty good vision as well, and given that large arc, as you can see, that spreads across. Now to contrast that, we have here a skull of a predator. This is the skull of a cougar, or mountain lion. And you can see that we're missing some of the bone right here, but the eyes are facing forward. So with the cougar, their vision is going to be a bit different than the deer because they are a predator. To begin with, their side vision, or lateral vision, is not going to be as strong. It's not going to have as big of an arc, maybe 180 degrees, so it can see a little bit out of its periphery. It is going to have, though, a spot in the front where you can see that it's going to have great binocular vision where the left and the right eyes would cross, and that allows them to focus on animals and get great depth perception so they can help chase them down and track them and catch their prey. Now I do have an omnivore skull here, so this is the skull of an opossum, and omnivores typically are going to have eyes much like a carnivore would. So you're going to see that the eyes are going to be front facing on our possum here. And that's because omnivores are going to be eating animals as well, other little creatures. So they typically have forward-facing eyes to give them that binocular vision so that they can catch and hunt other things. They do have usually other adaptations that help them survive predators that come at them. So the deer typically are going to try and see the predator before it reaches them and then run away. Things like a skunk or an opossum, though, they've developed different techniques. So the possum will play dead if a predator gets near, or a skunk will spray that animal if it gets near it. So they don't have that vision to help them out, but they do have other adaptations to help keep them safe from animals that might hunt them. Now look at our animal sense of smell. I've got a few different skulls here that we're going to examine. Now the first one here is one that we looked at a little earlier in this video. This is our mountain lion skull. And if you want to see how good of a sense of smell one of these animals has, what you're going to do is look right here in this nasal opening. And when you do that, you're going to notice a few things. For one, how large this opening is in general. Gives you a little sense of how their smell is going to be. And then if you peer inside, you're going to see what kind of like little thin pieces of bone in there. And that's actually areas where your scent receptors would attach to. So the bigger this opening is and the more kind of complex those little bone pieces are in there, the better sense of smell that your animal is going to have. And what you're going to see is because this animal is a carnivore, they're typically going to have a larger opening here and a better sense of smell because that's how they're going to find their prey. Our middle skull here, this is the skull of our grizzly bear, and he's just a really great example of an omnivore because a lot of omnivores too are going to have a great sense of smell because they're not only locating prey, but they're also trying to find things like plants or berries that they're going to want to eat. And so you can see there's a massive opening here, and then the nasal cavity actually goes all the way back up into this part of the skull. It's kind of hard to see inside of it, but it goes really, really far back, and that is going to give this bear a great sense of smell. As we know, bears have really good sense of smell. They can find your camping food hidden away or stored up the tree pretty well. So that is one of their key attributes as an animal. And then I do have a skull here from a herbivore, so this is a rabbit skull. And you can see that it does have a little nasal opening here, but it's not as large as a carnivore's opening would be from the same size skull because prey animals are going to rely on things like vision, and they don't need that great sense of smell to track animals from far away because most of their food is going to be closer to where they're living. Now there is still more we can learn from animal skulls by examining them, so there's going to be a third part to this video where I'm going to look at things like hearing, We're going to look at the base of the skull as well and a few other smaller features of our animals.